Welcome to lecture number 19 for ECE 341 Random Processes. In this lecture, we look at the central limit theorem. Now, the central limit theorem is one of the most important theorems in all statistics. It basically says that all distributions converge to a normal distribution, and once you get to a normal distribution, you're stuck. Normal plus normal is normal. And we've seen this before. For example, if I convolve a uniform distribution with a uniform distribution, the result is no longer uniform. It's a triangle. If instead I convolve an exponential with an exponential, like here, take an exponential distribution with the mean of 2, convolved with an exponential distribution with the mean of 1. The result is the red line. The result is a gamma distribution, no longer an exponential distribution. If I keep on going, I wind up with this bell-shaped curve. We've seen that over and over again. That's the central limit theorem. Central limit theorem says everything converges to a normal distribution. And what's neat about a normal distribution is the red line is the convolution of a normal plus a normal. Normal convolved with the normal distribution is a normal distribution. So that's the central limit theorem, basically saying everything converges to a normal distribution. And once you get a normal distribution, you're stuck. Normal plus normal is normal. That's one of the reasons engineers tend to assume everything's a normal distribution, even when it's technically not. For example, if I look at a Poisson distribution, that would be like a binomial distribution when n is large. Technically, I can't get negative events. Like if I count the number of hands of poker that are full house in 100,000 hands, the answer will never be negative. Technically, a normal distribution goes from minus infinity to plus infinity, and having negative 2 hands doesn't really make any sense. A Poisson distribution is a more accurate way to describe some things like cars through an intersection, hands of poker. Even then, I'll oftentimes use a normal distribution to approximate a Poisson distribution, even when I know the answer is wrong. Again, it's a very good approximation. It's very close. I'll just kind of note that if I ever get a negative answer, it doesn't really apply. Plus, I've got more tools for normal distributions. And to illustrate that, let's look at a normal distribution versus a uniform distribution. A uniform distribution between 0 and 1 is the blue line. A normal approximation that has the same mean, same variance would be the red line. And pretty clearly, a normal distribution is not the same as a uniform distribution over 0 to 1. So for a single uniform distribution, a normal distribution is not a very good approximation. Now, if I take two uniform distributions and add them, the PDF is the convolution of the two. That's the blue line. If I take a normal distribution with the same mean, same variance, I get the red line. And already, I'm matching it pretty close. A little bit different, but it's not a bad approximation. That's with only two uniform distributions. If I do 4 uniform distributions, I get the blue line. A normal distribution with the same mean, same variance would be the red line. Let's take another example. Let's look at an exponential distribution. Now suppose I have an exponential distribution with the mean of 1 that also has a variance of 1. If I compare that to a normal distribution that also has a mean of 1 and a variance of 1, it doesn't look very similar. Well, suppose I take 2 exponential distributions, or 4 exponential distributions, combine them. The result is a gamma distribution with a mean of 4 and a variance of 4. If I compare that to a normal distribution that also has a mean of 4 and variance of 4, it's getting closer, but still a little bit different. Let's combine 16 exponential distributions, again giving me a gamma distribution. In this case, the mean is 16, the variance is 16. If I compared that to a normal distribution that also has a mean of 16, variance of 16, you're getting closer. That's the central limit theorem. All distributions converge to a normal distribution under some very general assumptions. So the central limit theorem basically says that all distributions, when you combine them, converge to a normal distribution. It also states that once you get a normal distribution, you're stuck. A normal plus normal is normal. So pretty much everything converges to a normal distribution. What that does is that lets you approximate many different systems with a normal distribution. That makes analysis a whole lot easier. For example, suppose I have y is the sum of 5 6-sided dice and 4 10-sided dice. What's the probability of rolling a 45, 45 or higher, 50 or higher? Now there's a couple ways to solve. I can get exact answers using convolution. If I convolve, take a 6-sided die, 10-sided die, convolve 2 6-sided dice, convolve 2 of those, you get 4 6-sided dice, one more 5 6-sided dice, 2 10-sided dice, 4 10-sided dice, combine them all. Okay, so I wind up with 5 6-sided dice, 4 10-sided dice. That's what the distribution looks like. If I take some of these bars, like take the bar for 45, that is 4.22%, because 45 is right here. If I take the bars for 45 on up, and everything's offset by 1, because 0, x of 1 means 0, x of 2 means 1, x of 3 means 2. So 46 means 45. Add up the bars between 45 on up, I get 23.8%. Take the bars for 50 on up, that'd be right about here, I get 7.48%. So that's the exact answer. That took a lot of work. Can I do the same with a normal approximation? So if you look at this, that sure looks like a nice bell-shaped curve. If I use the normal approximation, I can take a normal distribution with the same mean and same variance. Again, that's pretty easy. I know the mean and variance for a single 6-sided die and 10-sided die. If I scaled up by 5, I've got the mean and variance for 5 6-sided dice, the mean and variance for 10-sided dice. Add those two together, I get the mean and variance for y, the 5d6 plus 4d10. If I plot the PDF for normal distribution versus the actual distribution, it looks pretty darn close. So what I can do then is use the normal approximation to get the same things. Now one problem you're going to run into, if I zoom in on this, I have a discrete distribution. I'm trying to find this guy right there, but the normal distribution is continuous. So I can't integrate the area of a point. Area of a point is 0. I've got to give an interval. So kind of the challenge is, how do I catch the number 45? What I could do is go 44.5 to 45.5, find that area right here. That'll be roughly the area 45 for the discrete distribution. Now where you start on the left, where you end on the right is kind of subjective. If I go 44.4 to 45.4, I'll get a slightly different answer. I'm going to be taking the midpoint, which again is going to make the answers a little bit off, but that's typical when you do the normal approximation. I've got a continuous distribution, a normal distribution, trying to approximate a discrete distribution, rolling dice. And when I do that, I've got to figure out where to start, where to end. So let's just take the midpoint. Let's take the first probability, the probability of rolling 45. Now I know the exact answer is 4.22%. I got that with using convolution. Can I get there using a normal approximation? With a normal approximation, I'm going to interpret that as find the area between 44.5 and 45.5. To do that, I find the z-score at 44.5, find the z-score at 45.5, find the area of the tail for each one, and take the difference. In MATLAB, I can do that. Here's the mean, here's the standard deviation. The z-score for the first one is at 44.5, The z-score is 0.7287. The probability, that's I find the area of the tail in MATLAB, use the error function. Area of the tail is 23.31%. You could also use StatTrack, you could also use a table. The z-score for 45.5 is 0.8744. Area of its tail is 0.1909. Take the difference, I get 4.22%. Same answer. So using a normal approximation, I can get the same answer. A lot easier than using convolution. Suppose I want to know the probability of rolling 45 or more. Again, using convolution, I know what the answer is. It's 23.82%. To find that, let's interpret that to mean I want to find the area to the right of 44.5, getting it around to the nearest integer, sort of. Again, a little bit of a challenge. I've got this problem right here. Here is 45. Here's 44. Where I start is going to affect the odds. If I take the midpoint, might be a little bit off. But again, not really sure what else to do. So let's take the midpoint, 44.5. I find the z-score corresponding to 44.5. That's 0.7287. Find the area of the tail, 0.2331. So that's roughly the odds of rolling 44.5 or higher, or 45 or higher. It should be 23.82. I got 23.31. Again, what that is apparently I should have started a little bit to the left of the midpoint. But again, that's normal approximation. As this gets finer and finer, I get more and more dice. The closer, more accurate it gets. What's the probability of rolling 50 or more? Again, I know the exact odds. The exact odds are 7.48%. Using a normal approximation, I can get an answer that's pretty close. I'm going to interpret rolling 50 or more as meaning take the area to the right of 49.5. In MATLAB, I find the z-score at 49.5 is 1.4574. Find the area of the tail using the error function. You could also use StatTrack. Area of the tail is 7.25%. So that's roughly the area of the tail. That's roughly the odds of rolling 50 or more. Again, close. The exact odds are 7.48%. But that's the normal approximation. Second example. Let's take uniform distributions. With uniform distributions, I don't have to worry about how do I interpret the integer 45. Uniform distribution, I just take the number as is. Suppose I add up 10 uniform distributions between the area of 0 and 1. What is the probability that the sum will be more than 6? What's the probability that the sum will be more than 7? Well, a couple ways to answer that. I could use convolution. Let's take a step size of 0.01, convolve 2, 4, 8, 10 uniform distributions, find the area to the right of 6, and I get 13.06%. Find the area to the right of 7, it's 1.21%. To make dx even smaller, I get more accuracy, but I get bigger and bigger numbers in MATLAB. I can get the answer using convolution, or using Monte Carlo. In Monte Carlo, I'm going to add 10 uniform distributions, and if the answer is bigger than 6, I'll count the answer. If it's bigger than 7, I'll count those answers. Repeat 100,000 times, and what I got with Monte Carlo is 13.88% and 1.37%. Similar to convolution. If I use a normal approximation, I'm going to say a uniform distribution has a mean of a half, a variance of 1/12. 10 uniform distributions has a mean of 10 halves, a variance of 10/12. So to find the area to the right of 6, what I'll do is I'll find the z-score. The z-score is 1.09. The z-score is how far is 6 from the mean in terms of standard deviations. The z-score is 1.09 deviations away. Find the area of the tail, either using StatTrack or MATLAB. Area of the tail is 13.67%. Computed was 13.06. Monte Carlo, 13.88. If I want to find the area to the right of 7, again, find the z-score, the distance from the mean in terms of standard deviations, 2.19, that's the z-score. Convert the z-score to our probability. The area of the tail is 1.42%. Again, computed was 1.21%, Monte Carlo, 1.37%. Finally, let's take the uniform approximation for normal distribution. Now, here's a problem in computer science. Suppose I want to generate a random variable with a normal distribution with a mean of 0, standard deviation of 1. That's a standard normal distribution. How do I do that? Well, it's easy to generate uniform distributions, numbers between 0 and 1. Can I take uniform distributions and create a normal distribution? Well, you can do something which is close. This is actually what they do typically. A uniform distribution has the mean of a half, a variance of 1/12. If I add up 12 uniform distributions, the mean will be 6, and the variance is 1. If I add up 12 uniform distributions and subtract 6, now the mean is 0, the variance is 1. And what that looks like is the blue curve is the PDF for 12 uniform distributions minus 6. A normal distribution is shown in red. The two are different. It's really hard to tell the difference. The main way you tell the difference is at minus 6 and plus 6 standard deviations. The uniform distributions will never get a number less than minus 6. They'll never get a number more than plus 6. You can, the area to the right of 6 isn't 0. In MATLAB, I can see what the area is. For example, if I say, what is the area to the right of, or left of minus 6? Get this backwards. 1 minus. Again, same answer. There we go. The area to the right is 0.999999. Area of the tail is 9.8. Get this backwards. Can't have a negative probability. There we go. Is 9.86 times 10 to the minus 10. Not 0. So if I have enough samples, I'll eventually get 1 or 2 data points that are more than 6 standard deviations away. Not likely, but can happen. Versus the uniform distribution, I will never, ever, ever get a number less than minus 6. Never, ever, ever get a number more than plus 6. So the two are different at the tails. Really hard to tell the difference otherwise. That's the central limit theorem in action. This is actually how you generate normal distributions from a uniform distribution. So in summary, when I add PDFs, they converge to the normal distribution. That's something we've seen over and over again. We keep on seeing that standard normal curve. Likewise, I can approximate many PDFs with a normal distribution. This lets you determine the probabilities fairly easy using a standard normal table or stat track. Or you can also use MATLAB's error function. Given the z-score, convert that to a probability. This is the area of the tail. And that is lecture number 19 for ECE 341, Central Limit Theorem. Again, one of the most important theorems in all statistics. Everything converges to a normal distribution. Likewise, what you're going to see is oftentimes we'll assume everything's a normal distribution, but that's not really a bad assumption. That's due to the central limit theorem. Lecture 19 for 341.